Now, if you ask anyone who's raced here, they'll tell you, nowhere in the world is more important to get a high qualifying position than here on the windy, chicaney, challenging streets of Monaco. We're about to set the grid for tomorrow's race, but potentially for the end of the race too. So welcome along, everyone, to the Monaco Grand Prix qualifying.
And we've dropped to P18. Okay, you have a lot of front wing damage. Box for a new one. We've had to spend time repairing the damage to the car. Okay, that's P19, P19. this session and we're in the drop zone. We need a quick lap or that's qualifying over for us. Okay, engines fired up, we're set.
With qualifying wrapped up now, we have our grid lineup for the big race tomorrow. Be sure to join us then for what will no doubt be a fantastic race. Formula One returns to Monte Carlo once again today, home to the world-famous Monte Carlo Casino that first opened in 1863. And of course, a certain road race first held in 1929. There's no greater an occasion, no more valuable a win than the Monaco Grand Prix. The astonishing Circuit de Monaco is, for all intents and purposes, virtually unchanged since its inaugural race back in 1929. The faster cars of today ensure the 19 corners past the casino and along the seafront remain as thrilling as ever. A 2.1-mile lap here takes us around an entire country, yet never more than inches from the race-ending barriers. Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. Oscar Piastri lines up on pole position, and Fernando Alonso completes the front row. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Tsunoda, Antonelli, Esteban Ocon, and Russell, Sainz, Hughes, Albon, and Lando Norris, Verstappen, Bortoletto, Liam Lawson, and Gasly, Hamilton, Stroll, Jack Doohan, and Ollie Behrman. Hadjar and Charles Leclerc completes today's grid order. And with lights out just moments away, it's time to go down to the track. And alongside me here today in the commentary box, Anthony Davidson. I know what we've got to do before the start of today's race, but what about our driver? What do the final hours look like for them?
Well, for them, you've got your pre-race rituals that you go through. You see different drivers that, some have got their headphones on, they're listening to the music. Some drivers really absorb the energy from the crowd and they're there waving to them. Other drivers, they go within themselves. They chat to their engineers, absorbing that information, that vital information that you need to carry you through the race. And, those pre-race rituals are essential to making things systematic. We do a lot of Grand Prix in a season, and the more systematic you can be, the easier you are within that environment.
Mic on.
Fala aí, pessoal, tudo bom? Gente, então, como vocês viram, ali eu tive que até diminuir o feedback do volante para poder... Do volante não, né? Do controle para poder fazer as curvas em Mônaco. Consegui um P9 ali, depois de muita atualização, que dessa vez veio, graças a Deus. Aqui é tentar minimizar danos, o P9 é tentar segurar até o final, que vai ser difícil, são 27 voltas com Max Verstappen atrás, então já viu, né? E tentar não bater, porque Mônaco não é o meu melhor circuito. Então é isso, espero que gostem e vamos para a corrida.
Mic off.
Here we go then, the formation lap gets underway and the excitement here is building as we near ever closer to the start of the race. Which team will come out on top? Who's got their strategies right for today's race? Well, we'll soon find out. As the cars come back towards the grid to line up for the start of the race, each driver will be wanting to get the best start they possibly can. And they'll be hoping to finish today's race on the podium, failing that, within the points.
Start was okay, now stay alert for threats around you. DRS now available. Damage to the rear wing. You've got damage to your rear wing. Wow, that was a heck of an impact. Let me know you're okay.
Mic on.
É, quebrou a asa traseira e o carro não virava mais. Enfim, foi até rápido isso aqui. Mas é isso, fazer o quê? Bom, não tem muito o que gostar, é rápido, bem rápido, inclusive. Não deu a Monaco não é uma pista onde eu consigo fazer muita coisa, infelizmente, cara.
We've seen a brilliant display of the Russell hustle. It's George Russell who wins.
You always look back at a race like this and think, if I just made that mistake there or locked up here, there would have been contact.
Mic
And
off.
every one of those overtakes is a
It's been an absolutely wild weekend of Formula One action, and I can't wait to see